Yeah, it's hard to believe that Agoda is 23 years old and WiT is 16. And it seems like only yesterday when we launched, when we thought we were at the beginning of something new, right? And then social and mobile came along, and then it started something. And now COVID has started something new again. And in this next session, we speak to two Asia-born unicorns who came at travel in different ways and are headed for the future in ways that will, I think, converge because tech has no walls. So please welcome Niraan Silva, who's Group CEO and Managing Director for VNLIFE, and Jong Kim, CEO for Yanolja. Please join me. Jong, it's so good to see you in Singapore. He traveled from Seoul for this. Our only speaker from Asia who could get to us. So please, kamsahamnida. And who knew that when we arranged for him to travel here, that we would have a VTL between Singapore and South Korea by November 15th.
Yeah, right.
So this is really the beginning of something new, right? So let's get to the big news. And I'm going to start with Yongjun, right? Last week, Yanolja acquired 70% of Interpark's business division, right? Which is one of South Korea's first e-commerce platforms, and you paid 248 million, all right? And you said this acquisition will see Yanolja enter the market as a South Korea company. So why is it so important to enter the global market as a South Korean company?
Exactly, main purpose of this acquisition is for strengthen Yanolja's super app position, especially for the flight booking and the ticket and outbound travel package.
Okay.
Interpark is number one in the ticket and flight booking with more than 50% market share in Korea. So I believe this deal can be very helpful for us to make many Korean travelers into many foreign countries.
Right. I mean, they sell all kinds of tickets, right? Entertainment tickets, tours and activities tickets, flight tickets.
Yeah, correct. Yanolja is already number one in the leisure tickets. So we combine the other tickets like entertainment, musical, K-pop stars. So every ticket we can sell with more than 50% market share.
Right. And it's interesting with this acquisition, like we're seeing a true blending of general e-commerce, which has been always very big in Asia, right? I mean, it's the same in Vietnam as well. With travel, it's like finally coming together. So it's interesting. Okay, with Niraan here, VNLIFE, we have a fintech company that's coming to travel. So VNLIFE is in fintech, which is VNPay, which offers software for banks that want to provide mobile payment apps and other digital services, right? So now we have travel companies wanting to get into fintech. So I'm going to ask you first, what's your advice to them?
It's a very controversial question because Yanolja is getting into fintech. I just heard 5 minutes ago. So look, I think a few points. The first point is fintech is quite a broad definition for many different sub-verticals. Payments, lending, insurance, and all of these sub-verticals are actually quite different, very different in nature, both from a technology standpoint, a regulation standpoint, as also a go-to-market standpoint. So my advice would be, as a travel company, stay true to your core value proposition, enable fintech that either betters the consumer journey or the consumer experience, or in Yanolja's case, the merchant experience. Right? So that includes fintech products like lending, insurance. Moving into core payments infrastructure is a very capital intensive, very specialist domain. So my advice would be, yes, fintech is the natural progression. Consider what your consumers and merchants want before you move into fintech, and potentially partner versus do it yourself. So I think it's very interesting. Most of the travel companies I've observed have actually partnered, whether it's with buy now, pay later or digital insurance, with domain specialists to enable fintech.
Right. So Jong, you are talking about using fintech as for your merchant, right? To enable your merchants to pay better. Is that what you're doing?
Sure, we are doing the fintech business in Korea because we have hold the PG license.
Right.
But outside Korea, we are looking for the partner rather than the business
Right.
of our own.
Okay, so is there a partnership happening
It's
here?
a WiT exclusive. We've just formed a partnership.
Because you already do have a partnership
we
anyway,
do.
right? Through your, you do have a partnership through his
we
Yanolja Cloud.
We signed a partnership maybe a few months back. We have a large existing hotel base, about 6,000 directly contracted hotels, and we're working with Yanolja to roll out their software solutions, so their PMS and their CMS
Okay,
to
interesting.
our hotels.
All right, okay. So great advice from you, Niraan. So now I want to go to Jong Yoon and get some advice from him, because Yanolja basically started out as a hotel aggregator, then you became a super app in South Korea, and now you offer a range of travel, car rental, rail, right? Now we have travel companies who are saying, I want to become a super app, right? I mean, like Air Asia, for example. What's your advice to them?
Everybody think about the super app from the horizontal point of view, but I think a vertical point of view is more important. So customers do not make a decision to purchase the ticket, accommodation, or flight, not only from the application. Think about this. Probably you make a decision to buy the ticket when check-in, or if you enter into your room and looking at the leaflet or the TV, if you have the great content about the ticket around the hotel, probably you can buy. So I think payment is very important, and the other touch point across the value chain or customer journey are very important to integrate. So Yanolja believes that definitely horizontal integration and aggregation of all the category is important, but more important thing is to integrate the customer journey with many partners, not only from us.
Okay, so stitch the customer journey together, but with a very strong foundation of payments.
Definitely we need to make a meta platform to provide data insight for everybody across the journey. That's the reason why we are looking for the partner rather than direct the business.
Okay, all right. So Niraan, from the base of Fintech, you built two verticals, which is travel and retail. And I put up a chart here for our audience to understand. This is your ecosystem, right? And how is travel performing within your group? What percentage is it of your business revenues?
Good question. So I would say pre-COVID, travel was around 15% of our total group revenues. Obviously, during the pandemic, it's dropped significantly, even though we are purely a domestic travel agent, to less than 5%, much less than 5%.
Okay.
I think upon reopening, we expect Q1 next year for revenues to go back up to 10 to 15% of group revenue.
Right. So clearly during COVID, I mean, travel was devastated, but your payments, your retail, e-payments, everything went up, right?
Yeah, correct.
So then why do you want to stay in travel? It's such a hard industry. It's so volatile.
We're in travel for two reasons. So our core business, as you know, is providing software infrastructure to over 40 banks in the country. So we enable them with their digital banking platform, the app, internet banking. Now, as part of that, we also provide digital service to the banked customer. Okay, so we have over, close to 20 million banked customers we have access to. Now, the one digital service, which is a higher value item that requires a lot of trust when you purchase, is actually travel. So we have a very, very unique distribution channel, an organic distribution channel through the bank app. Right. The second thing is source of funds. Because we have direct access to the bank account for that payment versus a card or a e-wallet, we find that customers feel more comfortable with that purchase. So it's a very unique reason why we moved into travel 3.5 years ago.
Right, straight to the wallet, straight to the heart.
Straight to the wallet, straight to the heart.
All right. Okay, now you both have pretty large war chests. Yanolja raised 1.7 billion. You spent 248 million on Interpark. So you still have a lot of spare change left, right? You want to be the global leading hospitality tech company. Last week, your press release said that Yanolja Cloud saw 170% growth in your global SaaS business. and in particular Zen Rooms, which is your Southeast Asia, it was showing rapid growth, right? How do you intend to disrupt? Is there a company called Oracle? How do you intend to disrupt Oracle?
Sure. So we are having thousands of the new clients, including hotel, per month. And we have doubled number of the total clients for the last couple of years. And we achieved more than 40,000 clients as of now. So we believe that to transform our industry, travel and hospitality industry, from old agency business model into meta platform-based business model, digitizing property is quite important and required. So I would like to expand our cloud-based property management system, the SaaS, into the other property-related industry like residential, restaurant, and the leisure facilities, and golf, whatever. So we are number one in those the sectors already in Korea, and we would like to find out the partners who has the solution for payment or good sales network or the other capability we don't have, and we can advance the old-fashioned business model into the advanced business model. That's the way Yanolja can be number one for the last 4 years. So 4 years ago, Yanolja is very small startup. But as of now, we are 10 times bigger than second player in Korea. So we would like to share the kind of the winning formula with many partners, and we would like to be a number one in each region or countries together, not alone.
Okay, thank you. So Niraan, VNLIFE, you raised 250 million in Series B, and in July 2019, 300 million from SoftBank and GIC, right?
Yeah.
Of that funding, how much are you allocating to travel? And how do you intend to disrupt online travel in Vietnam?
Okay, so to answer your first question, I think it very much depends on how fast domestic travel opens up. If it opens up based on our plan, at least 25 to 30% of the capital will go directly into the travel business. We are lucky because of our omni-channel approach to travel through the bank app, through our agent network. We have quite a capital efficient business, so it doesn't choose so much capital to maintain. But you know, I think it very much depends on how fast things open up.
Right. You've launched a couple of new brands actually recently, right? In travel, in your travel brands, you've launched a couple of new brands.
They've been there a while.
All right. Okay. All right. So 25 to 30%, depending on. So you know, we spoke to James Liang yesterday of Trip.com group, and we were talking about revenge investments as well. You know, just as revenge travel, revenge investments to really, you know, pick up on that recovery. Okay.
Yeah.
Jong Yoon, you want to expand globally. I mean, not just regionally, but globally, right? So one way is through partnerships like you have with VNLIFE, and then another is through acquisition. You bought Easy Technosis in 2019 in India. What lesson have you learned about India from that acquisition?
Easy Technosis is great company, but they need more advanced technology for their business. So what we did is to provide advanced technology and tech-based advice for them, and with little money. So we would like to find out the great companies, and we would like to make up with piece of the item they don't have. That is the technology.
Right.
So Indian company is great, and if we can support the AI or cloud or any other digital technologies as a backup, that's the best way to make them grow up faster.
Okay, so for both of you, do you have in mind the kind of partnerships or acquisitions that you're looking for? Are you more interested in the data bit or AI data? Or are you interested in, what are you interested in?
Look, from our perspective, we are a Vietnamese company. We don't plan to leave Vietnam. We'll go deeper into our merchant base. So for us, it's about acquiring companies that provide value-added services to our existing merchant network. You know, either we buy a company domestically or outside to service our network, or we partner with a company like Yanolja to be able to roll out additional services.
Okay, so your intention is to stay in Vietnam. And
Our intention is to stay in Vietnam.
And his intention is to expand globally. Interesting.
Exactly.
Let's do an audience poll, and want to ask the audience, who will have the advantage in the post-COVID world? Will it be travel giants? Will it be e-commerce giants? Will it be super apps from outside travel? Or will it be players like yourself who see no boundaries? So we will get the poll from the audience. And if you want to send me questions again, my number is 96924989. Okay. So Niraan, I mean, you want to stay on in Vietnam. Do you feel that this COVID, which has, basically localized all kinds of travel?
Yeah.
I mean, Vietnam's been through a tough time. I mean, you did have a domestic flip, and then it just kind of died.
And then it came back.
Yeah. But do you feel this pandemic has given homegrown brands like yourself an advantage over players like Agoda or Traveloka?
Again, controversial question, but I'll answer it. So I think the answer is yes. And the advantage we have stems kind of two parts. Firstly, consumer satisfaction. So what we have focused very heavily on during the pandemic period was ensuring that consumers had enough care. Travel in Vietnam is a high value product, right? And so when consumers are unable to fly or lose $200 to $300 on a flight ticket, they need to go and see someone. So customer experience and physical face-to-face support is very much needed. And we even established offline support centers during COVID for our customer base. So I think we've done very well because we've built loyalty over the last 12 months, and they know we're a brand we can trust, versus, I guess, some of the foreign players that were, they don't have that local presence. Similarly, on the merchant side, we've done the same. Hotels have been shut down, so we've been providing them with solutions to make additional revenue, whether it's host events or sell their restaurant product online. So we've just tried to support both sides of the ecosystem.
So you feel like your physical presence...
Our physical, local know-how and presence.
All right, okay. And Jong, would you agree that that's the same with Yanolja during this period of domestic travel in South Korea? I mean, Yanolja's done pretty well, right? Because you have a big domestic play.
I think the suppliers, like a hotel, had big trouble because they don't have a guest. So we try to minimize the operation cost for them. That's the reason why we can grow up our solution business very fast. Also, that's the way to satisfy the customer. So Yanolja digitized the hotel solution, and we try to maximize number of the inventory and improve the inventory quality. So that's the reason why customer would like to visit to Yanolja in spite of the COVID-19. And that's the reason why we can increase our market share in Korea. So I think we can copy and paste for the other markets if we can have a good partner. Because solution plus OTA can improve the quality and quantity of inventory for that region, domestic market.
Right. So we all, yesterday there was a lot of talk about travel reopening, that we really, we know that domestic travel is not enough, right? I mean, the past 20 months have proven that. And Vietnam is very dependent on inbound tourism.
Yeah.
So when do you expect? I mean, I know crystal ball is hard, but, what are you working on?
Well, domestic travel is still restricted in Vietnam. It's still very much restricted. I think the main route, Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, is now opened up, but you still have quarantine on either end, so it's not truly open. Domestically, I think over the next 2 to 3 months, we will start to see interstate travel. I would say it will take at least 6 to 9 months before we see any rebound in international.
Okay. All right. So really have to hunker down even more.
I think so.
And Jong-Yoon, I mean, South Korea was, I think, the second biggest outbound market.
Yeah, correct.
In Asia, right?
Right.
After China. When do you think we will get back to those numbers?
Next year, 50%, and in 2023, more than 80% we are forecasting. That's the reason why we are investing huge of the resources for the outbound market. So again, Yanolja try to have all the products for outbound market, and we are ready already. So yeah, I think it's the starting point from now on, and very consistently the market will be covered until 2023.
All right. So what about inbound? When do you expect it to go back to those levels that we were seeing in 2019?
Inbound already started. So in case of the Jeju Island or the other popular location, it's very hard to have the hotel inventory as of now. So I think the Korean government are ready to have the inbound market, and we already shared our API with the global OTAs to provide the proper inventories for the inbound travelers. So probably next year, I think without the business travelers, more than 50% as well.
Without business travel?
Yeah, without the business travel.
Okay, so South Korea is slightly ahead of Vietnam.
Yep.
Okay, to the poll, we have who will have the advantage? 32% says travel giants, and 27% says players who see no boundaries like yourself. So people are rating you quite highly as a chance to be successful. So Niraan, I mean, you come from outside travel. Actually, Jong too, you came from outside travel. Tell us one lesson you've learned about the travel industry when you came in, and why it can be hard to crack for generalists, or is it easy to crack?
I think it depends country by country. It's very specific. I would say in Vietnam, travel is less about technology and more about customer care and relationship, right? You know, you can have the best technology, you can have the best AI, but if you do not have the trust of the consumer, or you do not have the best inventory because you have the best relationship with the hotel, you will ultimately spend a lot of money to build a business.
Right, so it's not about the tech, but it's about the...
The tech is important, but it is not the leading factor to win travel.
All right. And Jong, you came into travel about 5-6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry?
You came into travel about 5 to 6 years ago?
Yeah, right.
Yes, right. So what lesson have you learned about travel during this time?
Travel is the industry to be customized. We are doing the DSP, the add tool business as well. And compare with the other tech giant and our data, accuracy of targeting of ours is much higher because we understand travel, and the other data or e-commerce business does not care about the travel, mostly focus on the e-commerce because the market is big. So if we can customize our data and experience, definitely we can win over the tech giant or the other players as here. So I believe that customization is the most important keyword we need to think about in this travel industry.
Yeah, so that's interesting because Niraan, clearly you say customer care and relationships, right? And then customization is basically using the tech and the data to achieve that holy grail of customer care and relationships.
Yeah.
Right? You use both. Okay. Do you want to say something?
Sorry, I think to my earlier comment, it depends on the market as well. You know, obviously, you know, some of the first world markets are very different. Whereas Vietnam online travel is still relatively a new use case or a new service.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as mature.
It's not as mature.
Online travel is not as mature. Okay, so rapid fire. I'm going to ask you to do either or. Specialist or generalist?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, specialist.
Specialist.
Okay, all right. Niraan, Traveloka or Agoda?
Agoda specialist. Is that?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. All right, Jong Rakuten or AliTrip?
A specialist.
All right, Jong most interesting market?
Actually, Africa is the most important market for me. And we are putting many resources for that market as well. So I think developing country looks attractive to me because developed country is staying. But if having the new digital technologies, I think developing countries can go over the developed countries. So it's the kind of the
Interesting.
magic and attraction to me.
Interesting. I remember Fritz Demopoulos. I don't know if you know him, but the co-founder of China. I think he said it at WiT like 10 years ago when he said, "I am always interested in markets that have really bad traffic."
Yeah.
And it's like emerging markets. Okay, Niraan. I mean, we love Vietnam. So tell us, what's the hottest destination in Vietnam that we have to get to when we can?
Da Nang.
Da Nang.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Please join me in thanking Jong, Yoon, and Niraan. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us. Thank
Thank you.
you. All right.